You're listening to Change Your POV Podcast, episode 59. So how is peer support different than like an AA sponsor or something?
Well, I think it is. It's very similar because it's because of your shared experience. You either had or have mental health issues, or the fact that we're veterans. So it's in AA, you've got the shared experience of being an alcoholic, or in NA, it's, drug addict.
Welcome to Change Your POV Podcast, helping you navigate transitions in your life, like entering and exiting college or the military, changing jobs or careers, and providing you with the coaching and mentorship needed to help you advance in your personal or professional life. Sometimes all you need is to change your point of view. Now, here's your host, Eddie Lazary.
All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Change Your POV Podcast. I am your host, Eddie Lazary, and...
Yeah, I'm Bennett Tanton.
And we are here tonight to discuss Bennett's first weekly, what we call this thing, collaborative podcast episode. I'm not entirely sure what this is, but it's our new format. So Bennett wrote an article about this topic tonight, and he is basically going to lead the discussion. I am going to, I mean, other than the article that he wrote, I don't know where he's going to go with the discussion, but I've got some questions that I wrote down that I had, and I would imagine if I had them, probably you listening do as well. So before Bennett takes off, I just would like to say, if you haven't already done so, I encourage you to head over to changeyourpov.com/episode 59. That is the show notes page for this episode. And check out our new artwork for the episodes and our new logo and all that good stuff. The two of us sitting there, partridge in a pear tree. It's good stuff. And also, real quick, 7dayresume.com. So if you are in the market for a resume, or if you know of somebody that is, I highly recommend that you head over to 7dayresume.com and sign up for a free online training program that I developed. It released on June 1st of this year, and I'm already starting to get some really good feedback. And I would like to really quick read one I got an email today, as a matter of fact, by somebody named Lee, and he said, I retired from a 30-year software engineering career in corporate America. During that time, I have looked at hundreds of resumes as a manager and have submitted my resume to many companies. Now, as an advisor and mentor to younger people, I was curious to see if this course would live up to its promise of being a definitive resource for those seeking to put together a resume. Eddie has indeed achieved his promise. He explains everything about a resume, from its history, from formatting elements, what to say and what not to say, plus so much more. And his teaching style is clear and simple. You will master your resume with what Eddie is teaching here. And to offer this for free, what is Eddie thinking? Others are charging for much less information. This course could put them all out of business. So thank you, Lee, for that feedback. I really do appreciate it. It's awesome.
Lee's not your uncle, is he?
No, Lee's not my uncle. No, as I get these feedbacks, I want to read them on air, so people can kind of hear what they're all about. And I actually put that testimonial on the front page of 7-Day Resume. So if you go over there, you'll see the testimonial, and you'll know that Lee is in fact not my uncle.
Bob's my uncle.
Isn't that like a European thing?
Like
Bob's your uncle? I'm not sure what that means, but anyway, So thank you for that plug. I appreciate it. Bennett, take it away, man.
So we're talking about peer support tonight, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I do for a living, and I feel it's one of the biggest tools us as veterans can use to help our transition back into civilian life. All right. Now, peer support is what? It's basically for veteran peer support. It's a veteran who has already become transitioned from the military to being a civilian, already gone through the rigmarole, especially dealing with it's specifically for people dealing with mental health or substance use issues for the most part. But it's so expanded from that's how it originated. But it's expanded from that to deal with other mental health, just challenges and issues that basically come with everyday life as you transition from the military to back to the civilian world.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So how is peer support different than like an AA sponsor or something?
Well, I think it is. It's very similar because it's because of your shared experience, meaning you either had or have mental health issues, or the fact that we're veterans. So it's in AA, you've got the shared experience of being an alcoholic, or in NA, it's, drug addict or whatever. Right. So you use that shared experience because people that have done that have been through the same type of things per se, just like veterans have mainly gone through the same type of things. So this is why to be a peer support or a peer specialist or peer mentor for veterans, you have to have been a veteran, right? So
Makes sense.
Correct?
Yeah.
Just like the best, it's basically like being a mentor, is the best way to describe it. Now, there is, I would say, special training, because not everyone can come out and be a peer support, just because some people don't have the right temperament for it. Being a peer support is not, dude, suck it up and move on and freaking, shit, you remember how this was. You got to turn around. You just got to suck it up and move out.
Yeah.
That's not peer support.
Right. But so really quick though, to that point, so I'm going to tell you a really quick story. I was a supervisor at a company, and had quite a few folks under me. And one individual came into the company under a like a veteran program. You know what I'm talking about? So he got hired into the company under the auspice of this veteran program. He was a Marine Corps, and I think he got out at a PFC. What is that, Lance Corporal or something?
Yeah, E3.
Okay, yeah, and I think
probably
yeah,
because the majority of guys do.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, and he was having and I was a supervisor, right? And I was just having a difficult time getting him to comply with just the basic, simplest of things, like showing up to work on time and, not following processes and, just the simple everyday stuff. And I would approach him like I would all of my other employees, right? I would basically, pull him aside and say, all right, this is what I need you to do. And, I need you to pay a little bit more attention here. And I would handle it the same way I would all the civilian employees that I had under me. And he wasn't getting it. He was not getting it. And I felt in my gut that I knew what he needed. Like he needed to be, he needed to be locked the fuck up and basically,
right.
prayed rest.
Yeah, man.
That's what. Yeah. And so, but I knew that there was no way in hell I was ever going to get away with that on the manufacturing floor with all the civilians. So, I excused myself. I asked him to come with me, and we went outside, and we went the back 40, like the furthest parking lot away from the building.
Into the wood line.
Yeah, yeah, we went into the wood line, right? And we got out there, and Sergeant Lazary came the fuck out, right? And I locked his ass up, parade rest in his face, and he got a dressing down from me, and tears just came to his eyes. And it wasn't because I was screaming in his face. It was because he missed that. He
Well,
he
yeah,
he wanted that. He needed that. And I got done chewing his ass and I said, "Now, dude, I don't know what the hell your problem is, but there's no way I can do this on the manufacturing floor inside that civilian company." And I said, "But do you understand this approach a little bit better?" And he goes, "Yes." He goes, "This is what I need. I get it now." And I'm like, "Dude, this is the problem, man. You're not going to get this anywhere else. You're not going to get the next manager you have, the next supervisor you have they're not going to drag you out into the wood line on the back 40 of the parking lot and chew your ass because it's just against the rules.
right,
I could get into some serious shit for doing this right now, but I know that this is what you need."
right.
And I was like, "But dude, you have to understand, you're not in the Marine Corps anymore. You're not going to get this." I said, "You have to figure out that when your supervisor says politely, 'I need you to show up on time, please,' that what they're really doing is they're locking you up at parade rest and they're chewing your ass." That's the same thing in their eyes.
Hmm.
And I just had to bring that up because
No, and I'm glad that you did because it. All right, so everything that we talk about, of course, there's exceptions to
yeah,
everything. Okay, now it's just like anything else, but as a good leader or supervisor or mentor, right, or peer support, you notice that that's what that kid needed.
right.
Okay,
Yep.
now I can tell you from experience, the majority of people don't need that,
No, you're right.
but
You're right.
but I'm not saying that I haven't done the exact same thing with a guy who just really like I saw him get evicted from a home, right?
Hmm.
And then we found him a new place and he almost got evicted again because of the same shit,
Hmm.
right? Because he didn't fix it. I basically did the same thing with him and he fixed it. It's
Right.
like he had to be reminded who he was and where he came from.
Yep.
And sometimes that's all that they need. It's like that slap or that kick in the ass or the
Right.
fire that's lit under their ass.
Yep.
So that's what it is. You have to be good with people though. And I guess that's what I'm trying to get at is you really have to be able to read other people. It's not just a job. You actually have to have empathy and you
Yeah.
actually have to give a shit other than dude, this dude is a fuck up. And that's what I'm
Hmm.
trying to say is you can't just be that's not how you can just handle every situation. You can't just
Right.
be like, dude, suck it up. You know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
because most of these guys and gals have been sucking it up for years and they're fucking tired. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
So, as a peer support specialist, how do you know? You say you got to be good with people, and I totally agree. But what kind of a mindset do you need to be in as a peer support specialist to make sure that you're making the right call? And the reason I asked this question, let me just preface it like this. Um, Anyone that's ever seen a video of a drill sergeant chewing the ass out of a private, just know that deep down inside that drill sergeant, he's not angry, he's not bitter, he's not disgruntled. He is literally doing his job, but he's completely separate from emotion. Does that make
Oh
sense?
yeah, no.
And
And you have to do the same thing.
and as a peer support specialist, you have to be in the right state of mind to be effective because maybe you need to lock somebody up for parade rest. Maybe you need to just swallow that comment that you just feel like making and lend an open ear instead. But in order to make the right decision or the right call in either instance, you really have to be in the right, emotional state to do that, to be there,
Yeah.
to
The
help.
the best skill that a peer support can have is patience.
Mm.
You have to have patience. And unfortunately, that is not something that most military guys are known for.
Right.
That's why
Yep.
veteran peer support, to have a good, effective peer support specialist for veterans, I think, frankly, is pretty damn difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to have the right people, because you have to have patience, because these people will test your patience to the umpth degree, because you're going to deal with, we've talked about this, you're going to deal with these guys who have this entitlement mentality,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or they're straight up, abusing the system. But you have to be able to wade through those people to get to the people that really, really need your help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like in any
Yeah.
situation, you're going to have that situation where working for a company, all right, and you have a team. You might have 10 people on that team.
Mm-hmm.
8 of them are kind of just going to suck.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Like
They're
anything.
just going to
Yeah.
be mediocre, because
Right.
that's what their job is. You're going to have the one guy who probably needs to get fired every single day. You're going to have the one guy who is the leader, or who is the go-getter, warrior guy. And then you're going to have 8 that could go either way on a given day, depending on if they
Right.
drank too much last night, or, but they can do great things, but they have to be led.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not like you might be able to identify those that are just playing the game, beating the system, taking advantage or whatever, but it's not as easy as just sloughing them off to
Right.
get to the
And it
ones
all
that
it
really
all
need
it
it.
all comes out in the wash, though, because what ends
Yeah.
up happening is that you figure out everyone's game,
Mm-hmm.
and then you adjust accordingly.
Right.
And the people that really need your help. And just because you might not even like the person, but if you know that they're gonna, like, you might personally not get them, or you might not like them, but you
Right.
know that there's potential there.
Right.
Your job is to look past the fact that it's just like the drill sergeant. He might not like the kid.
Right.
Um,
But he's not going to let him drown.
Right. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it goes hand in hand with that. It's a lot like, it's really just like being a leader in the military. Frankly, a lot of it
Right.
has to come with that, because you have to lead from the front, because you have to set an example in the way that you live as well. That's the whole point.
Right.
You're sharing your life experience and showing, yeah, hey guys, you can succeed here. Even with all the shit that I'm dealing with on a daily basis in my life, you can still make it,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
So let me ask you. So you got these guys. Now, how many cases? I don't know. I use the word caseworker because a lot of
Yeah.
people
And
probably
it's very
recognize
much
that.
like that. Yeah. Like a case manager. Well, what I do is
Yeah.
actually work with case managers.
Okay.
Now I have two separate stances. I have two separate main jobs that I have. And one of them is assisting case managers, social workers, with people, going to do like health and welfare checks, going to make sure that guys have enough food, and that their heat is on, and that their lights are on, and just making sure that their basic needs are met, because some of these guys are really bad off. Some of them are really old. You know what I
So
mean?
do you?
So
Yeah,
some of them
but
are just so screwed up that they don't even come out of their houses.
wow. Do you have like a caseload, or are you just kind of filling in wherever? Like, where do you take your direction for? Like,
I do two things. I open it up to our team, who is social workers in southern New Jersey and all of Delaware. Okay.
mm-hmm.
So we have a couple different types of social workers that do different things within the homeless program. So I work specifically for the homeless program. All right. And we
Mm-hmm.
have, I don't even know how many veterans. There's a few hundred,
Wow.
and I'm the only peer support for the whole team. So
Mm,
what I do is that if I've got a case manager that has a guy that needs help,
mm-hmm.
now the majority of those veterans, frankly, are self-sufficient. They
Right.
can handle it on their own at this point. They might need a little help here or there. They might have challenges with transportation. They might have challenges with things.
So how long are they? How long is a typical veteran in the, for the lack of a better term, in the system?
It could be for the rest of their life.
Oh wow. And what determines whether they're in or out, or
Whether
how do they?
their ability to like work, their ability to go make a living. Because some guys are disabled beyond being able to work. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yep.
Um, and don't make enough income to really make it on their own, I guess you could say.
Now, how many of those guys are actually like, you know, beating a path and banging on doors and like really putting an effort, or are they just kind of sitting, kind of doing the bare minimum and just waiting for like,
I,
the
I
the
I'd
the,
say
the
that
one wish fairy to stop
yeah,
by?
I'd say that you probably have a full 75% of the guys that are trying to not live this way.
Trying not to live this
Yeah,
way.
trying not to live a homeless
Okay.
lifestyle
Okay.
or live off the government tit,
Yeah.
you
Okay.
know.
And,
But then you've got a full 25% that are just kind of either they're defeated
mm-hmm.
and I try to like, hey, let's go get you I'll get them like a job interview, or I'll hook them up with somebody that's hiring, and you know what I mean. Some of
Yeah.
these guys though are so far gone in their lifestyle that it's like you just can't even bring them back.
So those guys, right? Does the VA still hold on for dear life and just push these guys
Well,
through,
they
or
kind
does
of they have to, frankly,
or do they
legally
just
they
be
have
like,
to.
really?
Yeah.
They can't just be like, man, dude, like,
All right. So
you could lead a horse to water,
correct.
right?
You can,
But
and that's one of my mantras. You can lead a horse to water, okay? But sometimes what you have to do is just leave them at the water hole.
see you, dude. I'll be back tomorrow. See if you,
Yeah, because you're either going to sit there and continue to drink, or
yeah.
you're just going to hang out by the tree so you don't have to move too far to drink. You know
Wow.
what I'm saying? Now
Yeah.
here's this is the kicker, and this is hard for people to hear. A lot of people like us, they trust me. 2 years ago, I could never ever see myself doing this, but and people would call me the kinder, gentler Bennett. Now, you know what I mean?
hmm
But again, it
Yeah.
comes down to patience. And truly, here's the thing. Okay, I understand that you can lead a horse to water, but if he doesn't drink or he doesn't fix himself, what do you do? What would you say you would do, Eddie?
Right. Who,
Yeah,
me right
yeah, you would
now?
like cut the ripcord.
I would be like, if I had somebody that I was like busting my ass to try to help make his life better, and he just like kept shitting all over it and not trying and not applying himself,
Right,
I would have been
or
like,
just living the life that he wants to live,
yeah,
right?
I'd just be like, dude,
Not
you
trying to
made your
better
bed.
himself, not trying to
Yeah.
do anything, but living off of the government.
You make your bed, you fucking lie in it.
Correct.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's shitty, but it's like, come on, man. I mean,
I-
how many step ups or handouts, or you know what I
yeah,
mean, do you need to piss away before
right.
somebody just gives
Yeah,
up?
and I know, and that's the freaking paradoxical problem with this job, because they've done so we're in a housing first model. That's what
Yeah.
we do. We house the veteran. It's like Maslow's hierarchy, which I think you and I have talked about finally, because I think at first you had no idea what I was talking about, right?
No, not at first. I mean, we've known each other since when, November,
Yeah.
and I've just finally figured out like
What Maslow's
what we do.
hierarchy. All right. So, but you know what Maslow's hierarchy is.
Yeah,
You do
absolutely.
now,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
for our audience members, Maslow's hierarchy is the pyramid figured out by a psychologist named Maslow. And it's basically you have to deal with the basics like security, housing, food, all that stuff at the bottom of the pyramid before you can move up the pyramid to a better life or self actualization at the top, right?
Yep.
So we house people first, because when you get people off the street, you can at least try to fix the other problems, then the underlying problems, right? Once they're
Yeah.
fed, once they're clothed, once they're warm, once they're whatever, right? Now, some people, that's all they want. That's where they want to be. That's it.
Right.
That is their life. And then they work really hard to skirt the system.
So you got people that are actually, you got veterans that are actually homeless that even when
technically
they're
not homeless now.
oh well, okay, but even
Considered homeless because if we didn't, I'll give them housing. I mean, they still have to pay for part of it. It's not that they
well,
don't have to pay for part of it; they do, but they still get subsidized housing.
but so how many people do you put into this program and get them off the street, give them a place to live, and they eventually end up back out on the street anyway? I mean,
Oh,
do
it's
you have
happened.
cases
Oh,
like
yes, absolutely.
yeah, so those people they don't really even give a shit about making it that far up
No,
Maslow's
no,
pyramid,
they
right?
don't, and or they have no desire, or they have substance use issues, or they have hardcore mental illness that they won't take their meds, they won't do that. Those are the majority of people that end up like that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so here's the thing, though. This is the bad part. What somebody that doesn't want to do that, what do? Do you cut them off and let them go back to the street? And then so we're in a real bad position because the next thing you know, we get a call from a congressman saying
Mm-hmm.
you're not helping this veteran,
Right.
regardless of whether or not he made his own bed.
Oh well, stop there. Hold on. So, do you or your organization document all of
Yes,
these?
yes, we do.
Okay,
Yes,
so
we
you
document
you
all
can
of it, and yes,
all
we can
right. So
document
you can
so
so you
we
can
get red
say
in the
Mr.
face.
Yes, but you can take all right, Mr. Senator or whatever. Why don't you come with me, please? And let's sit down and open up this dude's file, and I will show you everything that we've done, everything that we've coordinated, everything that we've lined up, everything. You know what I mean? And how many times he's pissed it all away? I mean, is there has there ever been a case where you guys have had to go back and pull any type of documentation to say, listen, we are doing everything we possibly can, and at the end of the day, you have these are human beings, they're grown adults. There has to be some level of responsibility on their
And
end. There has to be.
accountability.
Right, there has to be.
Of
There
course.
has to be.
Of course, but again, I can
I mean, I
what I
mean,
can tell you is that that's way above my pay grade.
I know, but I mean, even a 4-year-old child,
I know, man.
right? Even a 4-year-old child is taught that actions have consequences, and if you don't finish your P's, you don't get dessert or whatever,
The problem is
right?
some of these people, I feel like they're still 4-year-old children.
They
So
were in the
yeah,
military. How in the
I
world?
know, and a lot of guys, they, I mean, if you let the military, take care of you, like you just do the bare minimum, you understand the mentality, right? I mean, it can get pretty ugly. It pisses you off, but again, that's why I said you have to have patience because you have to just be able to go, you know what, man? Again, that's one of these guys that I'm not going to bend over backwards to help.
But see, now let me ask you, right? And then to be honest, and well, either be honest or don't if you want, if you're interested in preserving any type of face with your company. But so I'm interested in, you know, at what point do you like just stop giving a shit and just check a box? Do you know what I mean? Like I could so see myself showing up to do that job and going, "Oh my God, it's Johnny again," and just being like, "All right, yep, knock, knock, knock. Hey, how you doing? Yep, see you later." Check
Yeah,
the
no,
box
no,
because I
and
know
I can tell you, but
that
I
guy.
can tell you that I don't do that.
I know
And
that.
I
I
can tell
know.
you why I don't. Because I don't have to. Because what the glory of my job is that I get to make the determination on whether or not Johnny really needs that. And if
Okay.
it's not life, limb, or eyesight,
Yeah.
there's
Okay.
guys I don't, that's it. I mean, like if you need a ride to let's say that, you've got the guys that try to take advantage of the fact that, if you need help once in a while to get from point A to point B, yeah, if I got nothing else to do, I'll come get you.
So let me.
Especially an appointment, like an
Yeah.
appointment at the VA, or let's just say you're older and you need help with like getting groceries and stuff, then I do.
Right.
But
Right.
but
Sure.
but it's that thing, like, don't make this a habit unless
Right.
you're that guy that really needs it. Do you understand?
Exactly. I totally get it.
So
Yeah.
what you do is that you just conveniently don't you just don't coddle, number one, and you don't, what's the word I'm looking for? I do not, shit. Why can't I think of the word?
Change diapers.
Yeah, that's part of it, but I don't, it's what people do to like addicts. Like they enable. I
it.
do not enable.
Right.
Now you have social workers and people that will enable, but I'm
Yeah.
not that guy.
So let me ask you this.
And that's another skill, frankly.
Oh yeah, you have to
be able to say no. You have to be able to be tactful, but you also have to have the patience to just put up with the shit.
Yeah, and I know I'm asking a lot of these leading questions, but and even though I've never had this job, I can relate. I can really relate because I was once a corrections officer.
Yes.
And it's very similar
because you know, guys, you have to be judicious.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to take the bullshit and also, or just be able to filter it.
Yeah, you learn to play the game. I know
to filter the bullshit.
Yeah, I'm working on a housing unit. It's got 96 inmates, and I'm working that same housing unit for, say, 2 weeks straight. You get to know every single one of those 96 inmates, like inside and out. You know who's hustling. You know who's playing the game. You know who really needs help. You know who's trying to get on your good side because they're trying to get something from you. I mean, it's a game. It's a game, and you learn to play it, and you know who's trying to get over and who really needs the help, and sometimes you not look the other way, but sometimes you let certain things slide because you gain what's called currency.
It's currency, not trust.
It's currency. Yes, it's not currency, monetary currency, but it's how do you explain it? It's like, for example, I had to do cell searches, and I would do, if you're supposed to make your bed and you're supposed to have your cell clean before you come out for tier time. And sometimes, an inmate would not make his bed. And I would say, hey man, you need to go make your bed.
Like, give him that shot.
Yeah. And be like, and if he gives me attitude, and like, I have every right to just write it, what's called a D ticket or disciplinary ticket. And so many D tickets, accumulated over time means, loss of privilege, and it can even mean extended incarceration time, et cetera, et cetera. And so you kind of have that as to kind of hang over the head, but you can use that to your advantage. Like I've gone as far as actually writing a disciplinary ticket for an infraction, had the inmate sign it so he acknowledged his responsibility in the infraction, and then without anybody else looking, kind of pull him off to the corner and rip up the D ticket right in front of his face.
Right.
And all of a sudden he's like, man, I could have turned that in. You know what I mean? And he realizes, man, now he owes me one. Right?
Yeah. And that shit happens here too. To an extent.
It's all, to an extent.
It's really about, now, see, we've gone over a lot of negative stuff.
Right.
But here's the true positive stuff. Are the guys and gals that really are thankful for your help, that really need it.
Well, hold on. Before you go into that, you're gonna have to help me understand this between now and when we get off this call, and that is this: veterans usually fall within one of two camps. Well, maybe it's three camps, but two very strong camps. There's one camp where veterans are just straight. I'm just gonna say it. Fuck it. Abusers of the system, just straight up, just leeches. Sucking everything that they can, just because they feel entitled and they're owed it.
Everybody has seen those guys at
the VA. And then you got the other end of the spectrum, and those are the veterans that are so proudful, no matter how much they may need help, they refuse to ask for it because their pride just won't let them succumb to ask. So those are the two hugely extreme opposite polar ends of the spectrum that I see veterans in. And then there's the few people in between there that I think you're about to talk about.
Yeah. Well, Well, also not so much at the VA because of what I do, where I work. Okay. So I'm kind of limited because of the population I work with.
Yeah.
But like take what I do with Warrior Hall, for example. That is a different ball. Because I am focused more on the guys that are too prideful and bringing them out of their shells. And a lot of it's not that they're too prideful. A lot of the time it's because they can't let go of the perseverance, suck it up mentality.
Right.
Right. But their lives would be so much better if they would just let down the wall. So one of the biggest things, it's a 3-pronged thing. And I've talked about this with other stuff. It's about gaining guys' trust, right?
Yep.
And making them also not just trust me, but making them trust themselves and others again. How many guys do you know that just don't trust anybody? They don't trust their government. They don't trust anybody. Doctors are just there to make people sick. Because they don't make money unless we're sick. Right. So trust me, I used to be that guy. I used to be one of these guys, and I still have my moments. But trust themselves, trust others. And before they trust anybody, you always hear it. That's what, when veterans say they don't get me, they're saying, I don't trust those people. At least that's how I see it. Yeah. Truthfully, civilians don't get me, so in turn, I don't trust them. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
So it's part of that whole thing is that bridging that gap to make people trust people that are really there to help them.
Yeah, so as a peer support specialist, how do you break down those walls? How do you gain that trust?
It's to really show them people that give a shit. It's like, dude, so come with me, like come down, come see me. I'll show you around, I do it with guys at the VA. I do it with other people with different organizations, whether it's Wounded Warrior or it's Warrior Hall. And I'm like, listen, let me introduce you to some people that can really help you. And I'm pretty sure, 90% sure that they'll be able to help you. You know what I mean? So part of it is my is the peer specialist or the peer mentors network. It matters. Like you've got to get out there and beat those bushes and find those organizations that really do good shit to help guys, right? So trust, right? The second is forgiveness. You and I have gone down this before. Forgiveness is huge. And this is how I do my job. Trust, forgiveness, getting guys to forgive everything, everyone. I mean, I understand that here's the problem though. If you can't you're always going to be held back by whoever or whatever you can't get past, whatever you can't forgive. So you have to at least try.
And the biggest piece, let me say that again, with forgiveness isn't so much one's ability to forgive others. It really starts with your ability to forgive yourself.
Or asking for forgiveness.
Right.
So I have an exercise that I do with guys in group and one-on-one where I ask them to visualize the person or thing that they are having issues with, that they can't forgive, right? And ask for forgiveness or tell that person first that they forgive them, right? Visualize it, feel that energy, and then ask for forgiveness back. Regardless if they did anything to that person or not, just ask for forgiveness.
In their mind or actually in person?
In their mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually visualizing.
Right. And who is it in most cases with the guys that you deal with? Is it their children? Is it their spouses?
I've had it from everybody. I've seen guys that, beat their wives and they're not with them anymore, like their ex-wives, or just even, like you and I talked about this in the past too, that guy that cut you off in traffic.
Yeah. Right.
Even if that's what it is that day.
Yeah.
Through that exercise. and forgive that person, because you were telling me you held on to that for like 3 days.
Yeah, 3
It
days.
ruined your freaking day.
Yeah.
For what? For what? Like I
For
was with a
nothing.
veteran today. I was helping with the groceries, right?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody was pulling out in front of me and was basically cutting me off. But yet, because I was aware of it, it didn't bother me at all. But the veteran sitting next to me was like, "What the fuck?" They weren't even the one driving.
Right.
And I'm like, I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "So a little bit of road rage there. What's that all about, though?" So like, we had that conversation, and I'm like, what good does it do to get worked up about did you getting all worked up about it and getting pissed about it, does it change a fucking thing, or is it just complete wasted energy?
Right.
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 It just
Yeah.
is. So I'm all about conserving one's energy, especially mental energy. And this is very woo-woo-y kind of stuff. I mean, it really can be, but it works.
Yeah.
And then the last part of this three-pronged system is gratitude. Just being freaking grateful for the shit that you have on a daily basis.
Now, is that something you try to convey to them or teach them or help them try to remember? Or how do you
Oh yeah,
how
no,
do you
I
pass that on?
through the, or what are you talking about, the system?
No, yeah, like how do you pass that on to the like you as a peer support specialist? Like how do you pass that on to the guys that you're helping?
Oh, I straight up talk to them about it just like I am right now with you.
Mm,
Like I explain, I'm like, listen, if you can master these three things, and this is in the article that I wrote or the blog post, if you
right?
can master those three things, it will make your life so less heavy,
Mm,
right? Because think
yeah.
about all the dumb shit that you stress out about on a daily basis. I mean,
Right.
just dumb shit. Like if you really look from hindsight is 2020, and you think about half the stress in your life, is it really worth it being there? Or are you deflecting real problems onto lesser shit so you
Right.
don't have to deal with your real problems?
It's like you're harnessing your deep-rooted issues
Yeah, like
onto something that's insignificant.
why are you so fucking angry?
Right.
Right? Is it because
Yeah.
of moral injury? Is it because you just really like you have a TBI and you just can't fucking help it? Do you have post-traumatic stress that you're
Mm,
not getting dealt with?
right.
And I'm not saying, medicine, I'm not saying pharmaceuticals, but at least go through some therapy or at least come talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So
a
so let
lot of
me
this stuff is truly because guys don't talk about their problems, and they're not given a reason to. They're not given somebody that they can trust to actually talk about this. So this is, I'm segueing into my second big job that I do, and that's group.
mm,
And I sit down with guys in group, substance abuse groups, PTSD, you name it. I can do it, or I have done it, and it's about guiding these guys in real meaningful conversations with each other.
now is this considered a professional relationship or a non-professional relationship
I
in
look
these?
at it as I'm a group facilitator, so I just kind of keep it on track. So if guys start getting off, whether we have a topic for that day or they start talking about, like guys will start like a side chat. No, 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 no.
Mm,
Let's focus. Let's stay on, like Eddie's got an issue today that he needs his help with. And then they work it out as a group.
right.
So it takes a while to cultivate that because that's trust for everybody in that group. But I can tell you, and the baggage that gets brought into groups, like sometimes there's just guys that suck. We all know
Mm-hmm.
that. But they get, again, it gets flushed out in the wash.
So how do you, when you first get a group together, I would imagine you get a bunch of guys and gals that are in this spot. Maybe they're in different places in their own lives, but they're all stuck, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise they wouldn't be there. Now I would imagine you would have to single-handedly facilitate the topic, the conversation, and I mean, how do you get
Well, frankly,
people to open
yeah.
up?
Well, part of it is we make it their group. It's not my group, right? I mean,
Right.
I'm part of the group that because I'm there, but I don't. So I sit down with these guys and we formulate the group rules. We write them down and
Yep.
have the guys sign them. You know what I mean? So it's like
Is this
it's like a real like contract. Now I don't do this with the VA. I do this with Wounded Warrior and Warrior Hall.
okay? So this is all voluntary then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
And,
I'd love to get paid to do it. You know what I mean?
no,
But it's
no, I mean
it's not
I mean
about
it's
money. I'm just saying
no, I mean it's
it's voluntary for the veterans. Yes.
for okay. So there's
At
not like something that's like the VA is holding over the head saying
And
you have
you
to
know what?
attend
Most groups
group,
at the
otherwise.
VA, most groups at the VA aren't
Yeah.
that way either. Or I should say that 90% of the attendees are there because they want to be there, not because
Okay.
they have to be there.
So there's no ultimatum. There is no,
No,
we're going to cut off program.
usually the only programs that are like that are like substance abuse,
Yeah. Okay.
substance use programs,
Yeah, like a court,
or the ones that have to do with veteran court.
okay, like a court ordered VA or some
Yeah, court
AA group or something.
like veterans court will you have to go through treatment, and part of the treatment a lot of times is a group.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
But those are you know, there's 2 out of like 15 groups at the VA that are like that, you know.
Yeah. Got it. So let me ask you, this podcast episode, is this geared towards those that might potentially be interested in becoming a peer support specialist, or those that might be listening to this that should probably figure out a way to reach out to?
Yeah, I think that this is more geared towards the people that need to figure out a way to reach out. Like if you think that you could benefit from some mentoring or coaching or peer support or whatever the hell you want to call it. I feel like this is that episode, just because the whole people that we're not there yet. We're not to the point where, hey, who wants to become a peer support specialist? Now, if you are interested in that, feel free to get a hold of me, because I can point you in the right direction at least.
Okay. So somebody's listening to this and they find themselves, they're listening to our conversation and they're thinking to themselves, damn, that sounds like me, or I've been through that, or I've experienced that, or that sounds like something I might consider or want to be a part of. Like, what's their next step? Now, obviously, if they're homeless, they probably don't have an iPhone. They're not listening to this episode, but
well, you never know.
Right. You never know. Yeah, you never know.
They do hand out smartphones once in a while.
Yeah, it's like in Iraq, man. Everybody was poor. They didn't have any food, but everybody had a television and a radio,
right, and a fucking PlayStation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So talk to us about those guys they're listening to this, and they're looking for some way to connect or find something in their area, or they like, where do they start? Like, where do you go?
All right. So there's a couple different places, and I'm going to give you places that I know intimately. Okay.
Well, don't tell me the VA. Nobody wants to go to the VA.
Well, no, and I wasn't going to, but you could. I mean,
right.
At the end of the day, not all VAs are evil.
I know. I'm just saying that
it really
everybody makes.
Yeah, because everyone makes that. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever, and that's great, because you know what? I freaking have my issues too, folks. Trust me, Eddie hears about them. Yeah. I mean, and I don't hold back just because I work for him. Trust me, I'm at work flipping the fuck out because of the way. A lot of it is though because of the way veterans are treated. Trust me.
Right.
You'll find no bigger advocate for that. And I'm there as an employee going, no, doc, you're fucked up. Trust me, I can't believe I still have a job. I know, I'm serious. I'm so serious. Like screaming matches in the middle of freaking the hospital. Wow. It's just asinine. But anyway. So you can contact me, and I will at least send you in the right direction for where you're at, because a lot of this stuff is very local. All right. So you can get in touch with me at either bennett@warriorhall.org, or you can get a hold of me at bennett@changeyourpov.com. I think we haven't really tested that out yet.
Not yet.
But anyway, you can find me. Just go to Warrior Hall's website and figure that out. The one of the big initiatives that Wounded Warrior has done to really try and bring some stuff back are these groups. They've started up groups, right? That are run by group facilitators like me, that are veterans, post 9/11 guys that have just kind of gotten their shit together, and they decided to give back and start a group, and the Wounded Warrior Project just funds that. Okay. So they really don't care what I do as long as I'm helping guys. They give me a budget. I can feed guys. You know what I'm saying? It's a pretty sweet deal for the guys in the group. You know what I mean? And we actually get work done.
That's cool.
It's really cool. So you may be lucky enough to have one of those groups in your area. And if you do, I really say at least give it a shot. I mean, what the hell's the problem? I mean, you have to become a member of an alumni of Wounded Warrior, but that takes 10 minutes and it doesn't cost you a damn thing. And you can be whatever. I don't freaking support those cocksuckers, and I don't whatever, but you know what? They don't care. Neither do I.
Right.
So, they definitely do more good than bad. It's what you make of it. It really is. So use it as a tool. Again, we've talked about this a million times. Use it as a tool, or just shut the fuck up and move on.
Yeah.
And move on.
That's it.
Right. So those are two resources. Another one is just look for groups in your local communities. Like upstate New York has Clear Path for Veterans, and like down in Charlotte, North Carolina, you got like Charlotte Bridge Home that does that could hook you up with some other people. You know what I mean? You've got groups down in South Carolina, out by Asheville, North Carolina, Veterans Healing Farm. You've got groups like Raider Project down in North Carolina as well. The Gallant Few. These are great organizations that help so many people. So really just look them up. And if you really need help, reach out. And you know what? There's a lot of people out there that need help, so you might not get help right away. But if you really need help, you'll keep trying.
Yeah.
So it's not going to fall into your lap. That's what I'm trying to tell you, is that if you've got issues and you want to get better, you have to want it. Nobody's going to, again, if you want to be one of those guys that's going to get belt fed through it,
Yeah.
I'll help you for a little. Again, I'll get you to water. But if you're not going to drink, I'm going to leave you there, man. I mean, because I don't have time. It's like if you listen to my last Cigars and Sea Stories episode, where I flipped out about, and I went on a rant about suicide, and that's what that's all about. Is man, I will help you and I will lead you to water, and you can drink your heart out, but I can't do it for you.
Right.
And you have to want the help. I'll be there with you, man. I'll walk with you hand in hand. I doubt I'll hold your hand. Figuratively, I will, but not literally, folks.
Oh, come on. You would if you had to.
So you know what I'm saying. So I mean, if you've got like one leg, maybe, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. So seriously, go to Google, just fire up a search engine in Google and type in veteran groups near, and then type in your city and your state. So what I did is I just now typed in veteran groups near Manchester, New Hampshire, and I hit enter. And all of a sudden, I got a whole few pages full of veteran organizations and veteran groups in and around my area. And the first one to pop up, Bennett, is the Liberty House.
Yeah, awesome place.
Yep, our buddy Keith Howard there is the director, and we did an episode. The American Legion popped up, U.S. Veterans Affairs Department, Veterans Service Organizations. We got the New Hampshire Veterans Resource Directory, the entire directory. Veterans Foundation of New Hampshire, the Easter Seals of New Hampshire, Military and Veteran Services. I mean, so it's out there. I guarantee you, I don't care where you live, go to Google, type in veteran groups near, and then put your city, comma, state, and something will come back in your area. And all you got to do is just, click on their website, get a phone number, call somebody and say, hey, where can I go? What can I do? Who do I talk to?
And I guess all I ask is that, yes, you guys can do this. Go out, find it, find the help. If you need the help, get the freaking help. Okay. Yep. But here's what I ask is that once you get that help and your shit is straight, turn around and give back.
That's right.
All right. Because that's, I've just decided to do that with my whole life. But I went through I went through shit for quite a long time. And I was that guy that wouldn't go get help. I don't need that shit. Blah, blah, blah. I was that guy, man.
And you pulled yourself out of it all by yourself, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course, right? I don't need anybody. I'm a lone wolf, baby.
Lone wolf. Ow!
No, bullshit. I mean, it might happen with some people, but still, you're still going to be fucking broken. There's still going to be something wrong. And I'm not saying us as veterans are broken. Sometimes there's just some shit that's not quite right.
That's right.
And you know what? Frankly, the biggest way for us to take care of it is to just fucking talk about it.
Yeah.
Get out there with some of your buddies and fucking talk about it. I mean, that's what it really comes down to. And that's what a group is. And that's what I do. And if you just need to call and talk, I'll let you bitch for a while, but then we're going to get down to business because it's not about bitching.
Yep.
You can bitch all day long. You probably do.
Right.
Bitch. I mean, you can bitch all day long, but if you don't fix any of that with action, what's the fucking point, y'all?
That's right.
It's not you're not helping you. You're not helping your family. You're not helping anybody. All you're doing is bringing it down. You're sucking the good soul out of the room. Yep. You might as well be a fucking shop vac. Seriously.
A fucking Hoover.
A fucking Hoover.
Hoover.
A negative energy Hoover.
Yeah,
nobody
that's right.
wants to be around that shit. Because why? Because you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if you surround yourself with negative fucks and scumbags all day and don't get that healing stuff from positive people, you're going to be a negative fuck.
That's right. So 2 minutes, Bennett. We're wrapping up. Give me 2 minutes. What is the ultimate takeaway for this episode? Sum it up. Go.
All right. So those 3 things that I talked about, the 3 things that you must have to achieve a basic fulfilling life. And that is trust, forgiveness, and gratitude. Trust yourself and trust others. Okay. Find people that you can trust. You don't have to trust everybody, but find people that you can trust. Forgive yourself and forgive others and things. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you need to forgive a dog. Maybe you need to forgive an airplane. I don't know. Maybe you need to forgive a country like Iraq or Afghanistan or the people of those, or forgive the freaking terrorists. I understand that you know that's a really hard thing to do, but again, you're going to harbor that hate. They win if you do that. Mm-hmm. All right. Then be grateful for the things that are in your life that are positive. Okay. That's my summary.
That's nice. I love it, man. Appreciate it. Thank you, Bennett, this has been a great episode. I had a whole bunch more questions. Maybe this will be something that we talk about again in the future.
I know we will. It's because, I think I have another one slated in 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, and if anyone listening to this has
suggestions of things you want to hear about.
Oh, well, yes. And even more than that, if you are listening to this and you were that guy or that gal, you were in that spot of despair and just, and somebody reached out and helped out and lent you a hand and showed you compassion and was patient with you, and you went through a program and you did any of this type of stuff and you want to share your message, reach out to us and let us know. I'd love to get you on a podcast episode and have you share your story, and let other people hear your story, because and that could be your way of giving back. You can just share your story and let other people hear your story and say, you know what, man, if that person could do it, so can I. You know what I mean?
I do.
So that's just
I do.
an open invitation to anyone out there listening that's been through this, or anything similar to this, and you would love to share your story. We would love to have you on to hear it. All right, man. Well, thanks, Bennett, for this episode. It's been great. You can find all of the show notes for everything we talked about over at changeyourpov.com/episode 59. The show notes might be a little bit small. There will be a brief overview, but the main takeaway, there will be a link in the show notes, but the main takeaway will be the full-length blog post that Bennett wrote out, and it'll have everything in there that you'll want to link over to and actually capture that full blog post. It'll be
not that long, but it's quick and to the point.
Quick and to the point, just the way you like it. And that's it, man. So, also tomorrow I am going to check out the premiere of Range 15. Hua. Yeah, we managed to. We needed to do the. You're familiar with that?
Early though, right? I thought the majority of people are going to go do it on the 15th, but
no, my showing's tomorrow.
Wow, that's cool.
And it is the only showing in New Hampshire.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had to get 77 people to pre-register, and so we did.
So how many tickets did you buy?
I bought 2. me and my wife. But
that's funny.
But I kicked it out to everybody that I know in the local area, and said, "Hey, man, you got to come check this out." And so my wife was like pretty excited to go see this show, and I showed her the trailer, and she was like, "Oh, we're gonna go see that?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "I thought this was like a serious veteran movie." I was like, "It is." I'm like, "It
sort of."
I'm like, "It is serious, man. Look at that. It's like serious
awesome.
zombies, serious blood. There's like some serious shit going on."
Seriously awesome.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So yeah, man. So I will.
Some other veterans doing good things.
Hell yeah, man. It'll be a good time. You know what I'm looking forward to more than that is getting together with that many veterans in my local area, and hopefully maybe we can find a way to connect and do more of this type of stuff together.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. Freaking a warrior link up.
That's right, baby.
Warrior link up set up for you.
Hell yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, man. That's all I have.
All right, brother.
All right, folks. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to Change Your POV Podcast with Eddie Lazary. Check out more content by going to changeyourpov.com. And remember, your ability and willingness to change your point of view will open doors of opportunity.